Hey you guys, it's Peter, and welcome to my channel, Peterisms, where I tell stories of my life and just little things that I have learned as I have grown into the person that I am today. And I have had such a fantastic day today. It is currently 3:49 p.m. on Saturday afternoon, and I have just been running around all day today, and I have my coffee right here, and I'm just getting some stuff done around the house. So I thought, why not sit down and do a Peterisms video over here and read some meditations. So let's get right into it. Since I didn't read from the Cindy Spiegel book yesterday, I think I'm going to start with that today. I did bring my reading glasses. Thank God, because sometimes I cannot see these meditations. Today is the 21st. It's a really short one again. The other day that it was really short, it was like one sentence. I ended up talking about it for like 10 minutes. So who knows? All right. August 21st. This is self-confidence. You'll be okay even if they don't like you. You like you. And that is the greatest gift that you'll ever bestow upon yourself. Interesting meditation. Self-confidence is something that I have struggled with my entire life, you know? And back in the day, somebody that I worked with referred to confidence as self-concept and how we look at ourselves and how we, you know, the way that we think about ourselves in relation to the rest of the world. Confidence, I think, is something that people think of as like when somebody like walks in a room, they kind of just own the room, or they're always very comfortable in their own skin. And the reality is, I just haven't been much of my life, you know? Much of my life, I always thought, you know, there's an Indigo Girls song, I can't remember what it is, but it's the one that says, I live 2 stories down the street. You know that song? Anyway, I love the Indigo Girls. But there's a line in there where she says something about getting her a ring, and she says, I always did the wrong thing. And that's kind of like how I have felt like much of my life. You know, when I was growing up, it didn't matter what I did. You know, it was always wrong when I was especially in elementary school. But it was always the wrong thing, you know, and starting all the way back to the very first day that I was bullied, which I do remember, which is so strange that I do, and I've talked a lot about it, you know, sitting at that cafeteria table and, you know, drinking the milk and, you know, just being with my friends that day, and, you know, then the one kid saying, don't drink the milk because it'll make you gay, because it said homogenous on it. Like homo, you know? And then after that, everybody was like, you know, or this one guy was like, well, Peter, you can drink the milk because you already are gay, and they all laughed. And that was the day that I was told, you are different, you don't fit in. And, you know, I was so blessed to have parents that told me always that I was good enough and that I was great and that, you know, everything that I did, whether it was a puppet show or whatever, was fantastic. And, you know, in my own home, I felt very, very safe. I think to this day, it's one of the reasons why I can turn on the camera and I can just be like, la la la, and flip fans and tell jokes and do stupid stuff, because in my own home, I do have lots of confidence, you know? I don't really think much about, like, when I'm filming, I don't really think about the fact that there are actually people out there watching. I really don't, you know, until I read the comments. You know, and then through the years, I have found myself always attracted, not just romantically, but just in people, you know, attracted to people's energy that are very confident and people that are very sure of themselves. My father is somebody that is very, very sure of himself. And I have a lot of friends of mine that I think have pretty good confidence. Are there things about themselves that they pick apart? Sure, right? But, you know, the majority of the people that I look up to are people that are very confident in their own skin. You know, it's not like they do a check and balance against what the rest of the world thinks about them. And I think that that's really what confidence is about. Living your life to the beat of your own drum. Living your life to what your soul tells you to live inside, and not being overly concerned with what the rest of the world thinks, you know? I've said this on here for a long time now, and on my vlog, and it took me a long time to get to this point, that I don't really care much about what a lot of the world thinks of me at this point, because I realize I can't change that anyway, you know? That's within that person. There are some people that I do care greatly about what they think about me. I care about, you know, my husband and my cousin and my friends and my dad and my stepmother, you know? But outside of that, people are going to judge you based on what they choose to see. And many people don't give you the opportunity to really show you the full picture, you know? And I think that's something that I learned very early on. And learning that as a kid is kind of hard because you want to be accepted, you want to be part of something, you know, all of that. And I would say that it's not just something that I struggled with as a kid. It's something that I struggled with in junior high, in high school, you know, even going into that. To this day, I still like struggle going into places, and my lack of self-confidence, I think, really has played a huge part in my social anxiety, you know? When I walk in a room, I don't do this as much anymore today because I've really worked on this a lot. But I would, for a long time, I would walk in looking down at the ground. And my old sponsor used to say to me, when you walk in a room, you hold your head up high because today you are a person of character. And it took me a really long time to believe that, you know, to believe that, I don't know, that I measured up to everybody else. And, you know, when I say that I don't care what the rest of the world thinks about me, I don't mean it in a trivial way. Of course I care what people think about me, you know? I want people to think that I'm a nice person. I want people to think that I'm a kind person, that I'm a forgiving person, that I'm, you know, try to continue to learn on a daily basis and be a better version of myself. I want people to think those things of me, right? But I'm not so concerned with it that those people that don't like me, that I work overtime in trying to gain their acceptance or their validation. I did that for much too long of my life, you know? And interestingly enough, the things that I learned over time that a lot of people didn't like about me were things that I really couldn't change about myself anyway, like my voice, or the way that I walk, or my mannerisms, or, you know, whatever, or that I just bolt out songs and whatever. You know, I remember, this is kind of like really a lot about the whole idea of being too much. I remember the same person that used to use the word self-concept, we were in graduate school at the same time together. And we were at a restaurant here in town. It was actually Cafe Patachu, but it was an old one. And it was like a Saturday afternoon, and she had just come over from like a class, like not a class, but like a study group with like 2 or 3 of her other study people. And I was there with some friends, and I saw her across the room. Now, this was somebody that I worked with every single day, right? And I saw her across the room, and I was so excited to see her, you know. I was proud of my relationship with her. I really enjoyed calling her a friend and a coworker, and I really adored her. And so I saw her across the room, and this is where I'm talking about I always kind of did the wrong thing and never really knew it until after I did it, you know? And so I saw her across the room, and I was like, oh my God, hey, how are you? And she went like this. I mean, I literally, to this moment, I can still feel like my stomach drop, just reliving it. She was like, she looked over at me and she went, hold it down. And I was like, I just felt so shamed in that moment. And I think that's a lot of what it is having people in our lives that told us that who we are, or the clothes that we wore, the music that we listened to, or the books that we read, or the movies that we watched, or the friends that we had. That was a big one for me in high school, you know, like my parents and my other friends or other people at school questioning my friends and being like, why do you hang out with them? Well, because A, they were the only people that would have me, and because B, they were the 4 or 5 most loyal, bad ass, you know, gals that I had ever met in my entire life. And I had a lot of fun with them, and they were my friends, and nobody should have questioned that, you know? And today I am loyal as a fault to my friends, because I just don't let people talk about my friends that way today, you know? And it's something that I had to learn. And over time, it was just like, you know, it was like nothing that I could do was right, you know what I mean? And so, I don't know, I realized over time, and I think much, much too late in life, that I had to just let go of that. Like, I was losing parts of myself because I was so concerned with what other people thought about me, and because it was easier, I thought, to fit in. It was easier to be a conformist and to conform to what everybody else did, you know? And that's just not the truth. It just is not the truth. And, I don't know. And even when I was kind of like edgy and different in high school and all that, I still kind of leaned towards the safe because I was so concerned with constantly being called out. I think part of me showing who I was differently in clothes and hair and things like that was part of my rebellion against that. But at the same time, like, I think I was so scared to come out of my skin. You know, I've met so many people in my life. There's such a fine line. People always say this, and I believe it. There's a fine line between confidence and arrogance, right? And arrogance comes across like, yeah, like, look at me, you know, I'm the one, you know? That to me is not confidence. That to me is fake confidence, right? I have met people in my life, though, that truly, like, you cannot tell them that they are not the SHIT. You know what I mean? Like, they truly, truly believe it. And I think that's great. You know what I mean? Like, I do. But the problem with those people is they're typically quick to raise themselves up, but also quick to put other people down, you know? Those are the people that will tell you how fantastic they are while telling you that 4 or 5 other people aren't that grand, you know? Or that, oh my, you know, like, picking them apart. And so then I always wonder about them. Like, do they truly, truly believe that? Or are they just, you know, like, they have to have something to build themselves up? I don't know, you know? All I know is that me working on my confidence, me feeling comfortable in my own skin, me being proud of myself, you know, me loving myself and being willing to say, hey, this is who I am, take it or leave it, you know, like, that I think has been something that I've worked on for a long time. And I think that is confidence, you know. And I think confidence can come in all kinds of different ways. It can come in how your philosophies about things in life. I think it can come across in your physical image of yourself and how you portray that to the world and if you're comfortable with that or not. And you all know that's something I'm still working on, you know? And so I think it's an ongoing battle for many, many people. I know it's something that I really work on. I would love to sit on here and say, yeah, I've really worked on my confidence and I'm very confident today. I'm not, you know? It's something that I will continue to work on for the rest of my life. I'm more confident now than I was 10 years. I don't know, like, the word for me, confidence, is like, it's almost hard for me to even say that. Like, I'm more confident now than I was 10 years ago. Inside my head, I hear myself saying, no, you're not. See, I always hear that doubting person telling me that I'm not. I am more sure of myself today. I do love myself today. I am proud of myself today, you know? And those are things that I didn't feel, you know, 10 or 15 years ago. I just didn't, you know? And therefore, I think years in the past, I surrounded myself with people that they didn't treat me like I deserved to be treated because I didn't think of myself very highly, and therefore, you know what I'm saying? Like, so I think that has a lot to do with a lot of the history of when I picked people to date that maybe weren't the healthiest people to date, you know? Especially before I got sober. You know, I look at the people that I dated before I got sober, and it's just like, oh my God, like, you know, I just did not think that I didn't think that I mattered, you know, and today I know that I do, and I know that you do. Each and every single one of you out there matters, you know, and even if you don't have 100 people in your life, I don't have 100 people in my life, you know that every single day that you get up, look in the mirror and tell yourself that you matter and tell yourself that you love yourself. It's important, you know. So I think it's going to be an ongoing thing for the rest of my life, you know. It's just like, I'm getting ready to go to Las Vegas, and as soon as I think about confidence, I think about the first time of walking across to that pool and taking off my shirt in front of all of those people, you know, at the heaviest I've ever been in my life. The thing is this, and this is where, to me, being assured of myself, I am not willing to allow that to stand in the way of me enjoying my life anymore, you know? And those are two completely different issues, but there's a lot of that, you know? It's like, I don't know, I think for me, probably my weight and issues are probably the biggest thing that affects my self-confidence, you know? But you know, the other thing that's interesting about that, in all truth, and I've talked about body dysmorphia that I've had and that I have, you know, like food addiction and on and on and on. I look back on my life when I was 20 pounds thinner, when I was 40 pounds thinner, when I was 80 pounds thinner, I still thought the same thing that I think now. Like, God, I don't want to take my shirt off at the pool, you know? I remember 10 years ago when my husband and I were getting married and hanging out there with all of our friends at the pool. And I was, at that time, I was 80 pounds thinner. I was 70 to 80 pounds thinner than I am right now. I mean, I can't even believe that I'm saying that. I was 70 to 80 pounds thinner than I am right now. And I can remember, like, not wanting to take my shirt off at the pool. I would give anything to be that weight now, you know? And I need to do the work. I need to get healthy and do the work. I realize that. Not just for the superficial of how it looks, but because I'm not living a healthy lifestyle. I do realize that. But, you know, I look back on that and I think you were never really happy with it. And I think that's where all of my life, like people always putting me down and people saying bad things about me, you know, it's like, and I've allowed a lot of it too. You know, there's a lot of it that I have allowed where people have put me down and said things about me that I just kind of like, you know, and that's the condition, you know, like, I was just thinking about this last night when I was laying in bed, you know, like my sponsor always says that when we do inventory, we have to get into the causes and conditions, you know? And I look at that. I look at why as an adult I have allowed myself to be a doormat to some degree, you know? And I think it goes back to that first, you know, day that I was bullied in that kindergarten or first grade lunch, you know? And I think if you want to talk about causes and conditions, I think it goes all the way back to that. And so when somebody does it today, I think I'm still that kid inside, you know? I'm still that kid that at that lunch table didn't know what shifted that quick, but it did. You know, I walked into that cafeteria so excited that the tomato soup and the grilled cheese sandwiches were on the table waiting for us, and it was a beautiful fall day outside, you know, around Halloween, and the next thing I know, I don't fit in anymore for the next 12 years or ever, you know? I don't know, it's hard, it's rough, and but I know that I don't want to live that way for the rest of my life. I also picked people today that when they speak of me, they speak of me highly. You know, I have people around me today that love me and adore me, and yes, they challenge me, they tell me when I screw up and the things I need to work on and all of that, right? But you know, it's like, I have people in my life today that want me to be in their lives, you know? I don't go after people anymore that don't want to be in my life. I did that for a very long time. You know, I tried to get acceptance and validation from the people that didn't like me, and it's just not worth it, you know? It's take that attention, let it go, and go spend your time and energy on the people that do like you, you know? So anyway, that was a great meditation. Should I read one more? I mean, this is getting kind of long, but let's read another one. I actually really liked that. It's kind of got me in my head thinking about this. I need to think a little bit more. Let's read from this one, the Melody Beatty Journey to the Heart. What is today? The 21st. You're free to open your heart. A long meditation on a Saturday. August 21st, you're free to open your heart. Open your heart to the people you love. Open your heart to the world. Open your heart to God, to the universe, to life, and all the creatures and creations in it. Open your heart as much as you can. It's safe to open your heart now. There was a time when you believed that the only way to protect yourself was to shut down and close your heart. This is exactly what I was just talking about. You have learned so much. You have learned the powers of honesty, compassion, forgiveness, and kindness. You will no longer become stuck or trapped if you open your heart. You can leave if you want to. You can say what you need to. You no longer need to protect yourself by guarding your heart with the heavy armor you wore in the past. Now you are free. Free to open your heart. Free to open yourself to the universe. A woman I met in Sedona gave me a lovely visualization to use. Picture your heart. In front of your heart, see a beautiful rosebud tightly closed. Whenever you want your heart to open, picture the rose blooming wide, beautiful, alive, and fragrant. Whenever you want to retreat, turn the rose back into a bud. Open your heart to the world, to the people who live in it. Open yourself to creation. Open your heart to open your heart to yourself, to God, to life. Life will become magical. One of my favorite words, or my favorite word. And you'll think back and smile. You will wonder why it took so long to open your heart. Open your heart as much as you choose, as much as you can. Share it with the world. I love that meditation so much. And I think, you know, for me, in talking about like opening your heart and really experiencing life and really enjoying life and loving life, when we put ourselves down, I think that lack of confidence is directly related to our own image of ourselves and putting ourselves down. You know, it would be really easy for me to blame all of these people in my life that have bullied me and put me down and all this kind of stuff and say, well, they're the ones to blame for my lack of confidence. But it was my work that I needed to do on getting through to the other side, right? like, you know, and I can tell you that the guy that said it in first grade is not concerned, you know, 47 years or 42 years later, what Peter Monn is doing with his life, right? So I've allowed that to affect me for as long as I have, you know, and I own that today. And it is my work to do to work through that today, you know, and to not allow that to stand, you know, in front of me, because I want the sunlight of the Spirit. I want to have the most amazing life possible. And I don't want to allow myself and my self-criticism and my lack of confidence and my putting myself down and beating myself up. I don't want any of that to stand in the way of really enjoying my life. And I don't want that for you either. Those things, I mean, we are sometimes, most times, we are our worst critic, you know? Are you your worst critic? Ask yourself why. I try to, you know, beam myself up, Scotty, a lot today. You know, I try to really tell myself good things about myself, you know. I can get really quick into, you didn't get this done, this, that, whatever, you shouldn't have eaten this shirt doesn't fit, you know, you slept in too late, blah, blah, blah. I mean, I can beat myself up about it, right? What's the point? What's the point, you know? Learn from those things. Change those things if you want to, you know? But instead, like the meditation book says, open your heart to the world. You know, see a new world. Surround yourself with people that love you for you. Learn to love yourself. Express the color of your soul, you know, and say, like, today my soul is purple and orange. And that's why I love that poem. You know, when I am an old lady, I will wear purple. Or when I am an old woman, I will wear purple. I love that poem so much, you know, but it's like, let's not wait until we're old. You know, I waited far too long to really express myself and just have fun. And you know what I've realized is, two things happen, okay? Like, when I'm like, like if you go watch my drama channel, when I'm like all over the place having fun, people either love it or people don't get it. And the people that don't get it are probably not people that are gonna love me anyway. And the people that love it, they're people that I wanna surround myself with. You know what I mean? Because I wanna be able to be myself, you know, authentically and genuinely, unedited, and, you know, and just be able to be my fun self today and express that. I don't want people in my life anymore to say, hold it down. You know, that cuts to my heart. And I don't want to do that. You know, I don't want to allow myself to be affected by that. And I don't want you to either. So live out loud, you know, be too much. Be confident of yourself. You deserve it. And I love you guys, and I will see you tomorrow.